Hometown Tattoo is in Brooklyn, New York, this time visiting Hand of Glory Tattoo, which is the sister shop to The End Is Near. So after a 2-minute walk down 7th Avenue, Amanda was able to sit down with Matt Ahn to talk about how he got into tattooing and where he finds inspiration.
We are at Hand of Glory Tattoo in Brooklyn, New York with Matt. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How long have you been tattooing for?
Almost 10 years.
Okay, and when did you, are you from New York?
I'm originally from New York.
And you apprenticed here?
I apprenticed in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Will you tell us a little bit about your apprentice experience?
It was from a friend of mine. It was in 2002, which was the year tattooing was legalized in Massachusetts.
In Boston, yeah.
Before that, I was learning from friends in their houses, and it was all underground still. 2002, when the shops opened up, I got an apprenticeship. 2 years, did all the menial work, and everyone knows that deal.
And how long have you been tattooing in New York?
I've been in New York since July. I just moved here again last summer from Hawaii, where I had my shop since '06.
Okay. Do you go back to Hawaii to tattoo frequently, or did you sell your shop there and you just are here permanently?
I sold the shop, it's still there. I'll be back in February. Every few months I go out with my clients and a lot of large projects out there.
And what kind of stuff do you like to tattoo?
I like to tattoo a little of everything. I like to do just one style. If I had to pick a main, it'd probably be Japanese style. I go to Japan a lot for work, so it's one of my main focuses.
Okay. Is there any kind of tattoos that you won't do?
I won't do anything really negative or hateful, or I think that might endanger someone's life. Most of the time, be open-minded, I think.
How do you feel about tattooing hands and necks on people who aren't heavily tattooed?
I wouldn't tattoo hands and necks on people with no tattoos, and usually a little discussion. People, they're all free to make their own choices, but I think it's good to let people know the
ramifications. Yeah. What if somebody was going to come in to get a tattoo from you and it was their first tattoo? What would you want them to know, and what kind of experience could they expect?
Well, no matter what, people should have a good experience in the shop, even if they don't get a tattoo. Make sure questions are answered, or it's a new environment for most people, so it's kind of out of their element. So people come in for their first tattoo. I make sure they know what they want and it's going in the right place for it, and it's not an impulsive decision on the moment.
Now, is there a big difference between the tattoos that you did in Hawaii and in Massachusetts compared to what you get here?
I think in New York I see a little more small scale tattooing, but then again I don't have my larger clientele. But New York is a great mix of all sorts of artwork and people. I love tattooing here.
Yeah, better than other places you've worked?
It's different. You find it's different everywhere. It's still tattooing, and people are people anywhere in the world. But New York's got a really good energy.
Cool. Now, if you could describe your art in terms of a genre of music that influences yourself, or movies that influence what you do, could you? And what would it be?
When I was a teenager, when I went to a lot of hardcore shows and punk shows, that's when I first saw a lot of tattoos, and I think early on that was a real motivation for me. Drawing a lot of punk rock art and things like that early on. But then as years went on, I went to more of the graphic, larger scale. So it's almost like maybe some sort of saga epic movie. I see the tattoos are always growing, and you're adding more, and the story continues.
What artists influence your work?
Well, of course, Japanese artists like Horiyoshi or Philip Liu, old Edo Prince, Hokusai, but other artists like Kandinsky or even Picasso. I'm influenced by so many artists across the board. Everything I see, I try to learn something or take something from it.
Now, do you think New York is a very tattoo-friendly town? And how do you feel the other towns that you've tattooed in are in comparison?
It's very accepted in New York. I think America as a whole, it's become maybe not 100% accepted, but more, people can see it and kind of understand it. It's not such an underground thing as it used to be. When I go abroad, it's a little different, just, different rules and histories. But I find mostly across America, I haven't had any negative reactions or it's held me back in any way.
Now, in terms of Hand of Glory, what makes it different than the other shops around?
The shop is a great shop. Once you walk in, it has a real sense of character. You can tell just from the vibe and the flash on the wall, and diverse artists here. We don't just do one thing here, but I think more than anything, it's creating the environment of a real tattoo shop, which I think is really important to keep alive these days. And I think the shop here and the owners have done a great job in keeping that alive.
It is. It's very. You feel like you're walking into an old school tattoo shop when you walk in here. Like Philadelphia Eddie would be tattooing here, no problem, or Bowery Stan.
And it's important to keep those traditions going on,
Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Do you think you'll still be in New York tattooing, or do you plan on moving again or traveling?
I'll be somewhere tattooing. I travel a lot for work, but wherever I'll be.
Are you working any upcoming conventions?
I'm doing the Music Show, which is in Orange County in March. And then the El Paso convention in July, and then there's usually a few more.
Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your day, and if we'll get your information up on the website so that people can get a hold of you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
While Matt Ahn's roots may run deep in the hardcore underground, his skill as a tattoo artist have pulled him up to sea level and have taken him around the world. So if you're in the mood for a solid tattoo, visit Hand of Glory in Brooklyn and ask for Matt.